Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Tanglet live stream. Just going to be a little bit of a pause before I go get into it, but I'll be playing a few games and seeing if I could stick around for a while. I've just got to check up some settings before I get going, and that'll happen in about a minute or so. Sorry about the delay. All right, be back with you in about very shortly. All right, so in this stream, I'm going to be playing a game called Tanglet, where we have to try and find as many words in here as possible. We're playing a 5x5 grid. We've got 4 minutes on the clock. There is 76 4-letter words, 55 letter words, 37 6-letter words, all the way up to one 10-letter word. So if anyone's got any words they think that they can see, then join in. And if you say a comment into the chat, I'll see what I can see about getting it up there. So one example is once you start from a letter, you've got to go to a box next to it. So I've got any of these 7 letters available, and then and so forth, and then to leap. So now I've got it over here, and we can then find some more. So ratchet, tool, it should be there. So I've just had one comment come through, sad. For these ones with 5x5 squares, they've got to be 4 letters or longer. So heel should be in. Cheat. Stare is in to look at somebody. Step. Teal. Okay. Yep, I'll type that one in. No, it looks like that's not in the dictionary, but it's definitely a word. It's a color similar to blue and green. Steel. That's the metal. Late. I went to the doctor's appointment, but they were running late. A crate. The items were all packed in crates for safe shipping. Try starch. It's related to food. Flats. No, I don't have that one. So this is the dictionary I'm using here is one of about, I think it's about 20,000 words long. It's got a limited vocabulary for beginners. It's not all of the current words that we'd have in common usage. I'll try Acer, but I don't think it's going to be in there as it's a brand rather than a commonly used words. Relate. Relative. So I've got the other steal being suggested, as in the theft. Someone stole my bike. trace. And I see tracer is in as well. Yep. Reap. Thank you. I'll try see if, yeah, reach is in there. So I may not be able to. They asked me to get something because I was tall to reach them. I've only got 7 seconds left, so I'll get that last one in from the chat. React. Get a few extra seconds every time we get one right. And game over. So now I'll go through the missed letters. I'll just go through, select some of them. So if we had the dictionary of all of the words, a rather large one, would have a lot more combinability. So what I'm looking to do with this live stream is to give some examples of some other words that people would want to learn first if they're learning English. So a caller. I might be working as a receptionist, taking bookings from people to call in for, say, a doctor's appointment, and the last caller might have been rude. Cartel. It's a business that is practice where they might fix prices with each other. It's not looked upon favorably. A cheater. Someone who's not playing by the rules. Decrease. It was a big number, and then you're looking at a small one. An earache is something you might want to go to the doctors for. Easter. Erase and eraser. So I might have written something on a sheet of paper with a pencil and used an eraser to get rid of it. A heater. If it's winter, I'll turn on and look to warm the room up. Lacerate is where you might get a cut. I might have a glass dropped, and some of the shards might hit my feet on the way through if I'm wearing shorts, if they, and then it cause a small cut, which would be a laceration. Pellet. If we're feeding livestock, the food might come in form of pellets. Preacher. From a church. Normally they'd be called ministers, but preacher is someone who's more speaking about it. Recreate. Two cars had a collision, and the police asked us to recreate because our stories were different as to who was at fault. If you go to a university, you might find someone who's doing research, and they're known as a researcher. And in an office, staples and staplers. A stellar is someone who's done very good. They might be getting 100 out of 100, and on the first 4 of the exams of 12, done a stellar effort so far. And teacher. I'll just say theatre as well. If it might be an operating theatre. There's another version of theatre, and that could be used for people with acting and live acting. So I'll kick off another game. I'll do one of the 4x4 squares, which means that we can have 3-letter words. This one. I'll call it as a stamina game again. So we've got 4 minutes, and we get a few extra seconds anytime an extra word's picked up. So let's go with sat. Mate. I'll have a look at the chat soon. Same, just give some people to have a look at themselves. Rest. Let's get meter in as well. Okay, so even though the letters have to be adjacent, they can certainly cross over each other. So taste and mast and ship. So I've got seem suggested as well. Something might seem the same, but they're slightly different. And meet. After a long hike, I might want to go for a rest. Might get a tear in some clothing as well. So master has been recommended. Someone might be a master of their arts if they're very familiar with all of the skills required for it. So I might be okay at sewing and be able to put 2 bits of cloth together, but to adjust a jacket and make it bigger or smaller to fit the person without it looking like it's ever been modified, we might need a master. So getting some other suggestions here as well. So tree and trees. No, the plural of tree isn't in. Meet and meets. So we'll get east as well, a direction on the compass. Let's try mate. A good friend. Let's get 8 in there as well. The past tense of eat. And seat as well. Not, yeah, rate. So the electricity company might send me a notice saying they're adjusting their rate of that they charge electricity for us, so the bill would be going up. Teas. Someone might get teas for. Let's try tier. Now I've already got that one. State. So Australia's got a few states and some territories as well. Yep, right. We've got that one. Test. Let's go with test. I want to make sure that things work fine, and then a job role of a tester, someone whose job it is to make sure that things will be right on the night. So rates. No, that doesn't come through. Ream. Start. One of the famous parts of races is the announcement to start your engines. Tees. Yeah, they exist in golf. They're golf tees, but not part of the dictionary here. Still happy to try. Got state. Yep, already got that one. Let's try states as the plural. I was thinking statesman and statesmanship would be longer ones, but it's isn't going to do it. So tame. An estate. If someone has died, then they go over a will to figure out how the estate is divided up. Steer. You want to make sure someone steers the car. Same. So I might have two items and one of them the same. They're identical to each other. A rare item is one that's not very common. And got a high score with that one. So some of the missed words. An area. There might be an area marked on a map that's off limits. We've got Easter again. Ear, a part of the body. Esteem. I'm not sure that's used so much by itself, but self-esteem, someone how they feel about themselves, is something that's commonly used. A restate. So I might tell someone something, but then restate the directions. Retreat. armies might retreat, as in go backwards, but it also can be used for like a corporate retreat, where there are people that will go away for a weekend and for a bit of training. Semester. If you go to school or university, then a semester is a period of the year. Some places will have 2 semesters a year, others might have 3. Stare, looking at someone else's star up in the sky. A starter, we might have several different races, and you could say that there's a few starters in one of them. Stream and streamer, so that should be in there, and street. Team, a group of people working in the same direction. Teamster is someone who, for a band, will load and unload their equipment. And terse, I might give it a terse reaction to something very short. I'll kick off a new one. And we'll go back to large. So 4 letters or more are needed for this one. So I'll start with treat. And we'll get state in there as well. Start. Whoops. Can get it a different way. Okay, so I've got a few from the chat that I'll just focus in at the moment. I think I've started at real. Toll. Try same. Yeah, no, that's from last time through. Poly, as in many. Referred to like as in a polygon. Lots. Tally. Might have someone who's keeping track of who's voting for who and have a tally keeper. Lolly. It's similar to a suite. Slate. Could say that someone starting back with a company would give them a clean slate. Total. After buying several items at the shop, we ask the cashier for a total. React. Polly, that might be in there as someone's name, but it's not very common anymore. Late, behind schedule. Really? I might ask somebody. You know, I said the bus was full and I had to wait 30 minutes for the next one. Really? Coat. They might put on 2 coats of paint, but also might wear a coat. Rally, getting suggested. Least. I might not like any of the options, but the one I dislike the least is the one I chose. Eats. So that's a verb. Someone might say someone else eats their food quickly. A cart. And put the cart before the horse. It's a common saying where you're doing things out of order. Test again. Stale. You don't want to buy bread that's too old, it'll taste stale. Let's try Cotter. No, that's more of a person's name from a TV show, Welcome Back Cotter. Stroll, getting suggested. A slow walk. I went for a stroll through the park. Put tall in there as well. That's the opposite of short. cast. We could say a magician cast a spell, or someone fishing cast their line into the ocean. Close. The two people crossed the finish line so close that we had to go and have a look at the photo. Okay, so copy. I might need to make a copy or get a copy of a contract that was signed. Stall. I might need to get someone to take longer time so I could stall them. Also in the plane, with regard to aircrafts, if you stall a plane, that's very bad unless you're doing aerobatics. So toes, I'm getting suggested as well as a body part, and pool. So go for a swim in the pool, but I've also heard pool referred to as a game like billiards. And tool. And if that's there, then I'm pretty sure tools is going to be as well. Well, it's not. Let's try lolly. No, sweet. Local. No. Okay, yeah, it is going to work. So someone who's lives in the area is a local. Someone who lives far away and but comes on holidays and weekends isn't. I was thinking collect might be there. Yeah, we'll get east in there as well. Let's try real. Getting suggested. Yep. And it's got a brand new high score. Nice. Thanks for the help. And go back and try some other ones. We'll go through the missed ones first. Aerosol. So if you go into the cleaning cupboard, you might have some sprays where you push down on the top. It'll put out some cleaning spray. They're known as aerosols. Allocate. I might be responsible for making sure everyone gets a meal and allocate them. Carrot, a vegetable. Arrest. After a spate of thefts in the area, the police arrested the culprit. Coast. That's the edge between land and water. Desolate. It'd be like a desert. Not exactly a desert, but there's not much life in there. And then we've got desert as well. So that's people that have all left. There might have been a company where a lot of people have resigned. We could say they've deserted. Locate. We needed to find the keys to the car, but we couldn't locate them. An orator is someone who's very good at speaking. There might be an election coming up, so a pollster might go and ask the 100 people who they think is going to win to try and get an idea of who's ahead. A rotor on a helicopter is the bits that spin above. Stroller is a name for, well, there might be people that walk very slow, but commonly used in Australia, a stroller would be something that a baby sits in and is pushed around in, similar to a pram. Totally. You could say in agreement with everything. And a trot. Horses will trot. It's faster than a walk. And a tutor is someone that helps a student get to reach their goals. So I can kick in for a new game. I'll just have a little bit of a pause before, and okay. I'll stick with another 5x5 and go again. Serve and server as well, the person doing the serving. Oops. Veer. A car might veer over into another lane. A reel. Dial. Leave. Someone might not want to stay around and I'm having a party. They might go to leave early. River. Body of water flowing past. Goes over a cliff. You might get a waterfall. Let's see if rave is in there. If you describe that as a party where it sounds very, very lively. Veal. It's a type of meat. Late. Thank you for the comment. Last. Once the last person crossed the line, we started packing up the race course. Tear. And I think you can also, tear as well as another pronunciation for that, depending on the context. Got stale in there again, stale with the food. Just had later suggested. I was thinking rent, but that's not going to match up. Dial. Sorry, that's already been done. Tree. I don't know if Lear is, Lear is in. Valet. I go to a hotel. The valet might take my car and park it for me so I can head straight up to the room. I'd give them the keys, of course. A minute and a half left on the clock. I was thinking vent might have been in. Rivet, used in construction to hold two bits of two items together. Small bit of metal that gets bent into shape. Salt with the food. Salt and pepper commonly found together. A siren would go off when it's time to evacuate. Let's see if dilate is in. Yeah, with it's usually used about to describe something opening and closing. So cat's eyes might dilate if it starts to see I've got a bit of string out. Might get excited. Okay. No, don't have that. Salter. No. Dale. I do recognise it as an English word, but can't quite give an example at the moment. Okay, so I've got game over. So some of the words that were missed: an adult, an older person, averse. The company might be risk averse and look to head off any possibilities early as possible. Deserve. I could see someone hardworking in a job and I say they deserve more pay. Elevate, to make things go higher. 11, the number after 10. Lava, from a volcano. Larvae, from small children of insects. Overate, someone who might eat too much and then feel sick afterwards. And then we've got overeat and eaten. Overrate, a raid and raider, someone that's cross over into another country or do a theft. Reversal, after figuring out that I was behind the counter and I charged a customer for somebody else's goods, I had to do a transaction reversal. So I might have mistakenly charged them $90 instead of the $10 for the goods they were. So I make sure that money goes back into their account. Savior, someone my ship might sink and a rescue helicopter come through, they'd be my savior. And savor the flavor. So I go to a fancy restaurant and I might normally eat fast, but in this case I'm going to go very slow and make sure I enjoy the whole meal. So steal, starve, where someone isn't eating as much as they should and they may have been lost on a deserted island. And terrier, a type of dog. Trailer and versatile. A trailer would go behind a car, and a versatile item, something that's useful in a lot of circumstances. Swap back to the 4x4s and kick off with another game. With art, rare, rate, gate, make to on a farm to shut the gate if you drive through it. You don't want to let the livestock out. Pear, type of fruit. Oops, sorry, didn't expect it to drop off. Taste. I might offer to taste, give someone a taste of the food in case it's spicier than they would like. Tear and test. Rest. And stare. Ear, the body part. Tea, the drink similar to coffee. Erase, to rub something out. Yeah, might make a mistake with a pencil on a sheet of paper and need to erase it if I've figured out there's a mistake in my working. Rest. And might want to rest on a seat. And starter, as in a starter motor. Don't know if page is going to be in as well. The rest. Paste. Might need to paste 2 sheets together to make a slightly bigger one to write on. I'll paste several sheets across and make a banner. The eater, I think, yeah, might be. They're describing one of the people that are eating. Repeat. I might need to repeat sitting an exam if I didn't pass it the first time. Rage. Someone who's very angry. You might see that they're going in a fit of rage. Peg on a clothesline. So if there's anyone with any suggestions, more than happy to take them in the chat. Tree in the park. Steer a car. Street. I can't really see a way for that to work. Eight. And 10 seconds left. I don't think we're going to get any. Oh, pest. And pests. No, the plural. There might be several rats eating. Nice. Got on the high scoreboard. And some of the words that I missed. Agree. I might ask someone what they think is the best plan, and we might discuss it back and forth before agreeing. Easter, one of the Christian holidays. Garrett is name. Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. Garter is an item of clothing. I think it's normally seen on a wedding. Esther. I go up and I keep asking someone about something, I'd be pestering them, even if I've already got a response. You might pester them to try and get them to change. Regret is something you wish you had done. So you might have someone who is old that might have a regret of not having to go for a large trip when they were younger or something like that. Separate. You take something that's together and then split them out into 2 different areas. So one part of cooking a recipe might have some eggs. and you're separating the egg yolk from the egg white. Tap to turn on and off, and tape to measure. And tease. That's and treat. Might give some kids a treat if they've been good at the end of the day and go get an ice cream. So I'll go back onto one of the large ones. So I'll start with, we've got 4 minutes to find as many words as possible. I'm happy to take suggestions from the chat if there's anything you could see them. But in this one, we've got, they have to be 4-letter words or longer. So an example would be tear. And once you start with a letter, it has to use another letter next to it. So coral into ocean reef is another example. Seam, part of an item of clothing. Ship on the ocean. Not really finding too many of them. Paper to make some notes on. A sale. Go visit the shops when some items are on sale. Usually Boxing Day sales are pretty big over here, where there might be discounts of like 30 and 50%. Seal. It can be an animal, or it can be refer to something that's closed and making sure it's closed. So I might buy some food, but if I can see that the seal's been tampered with, I should leave it at the shops and give it to one of the shopkeepers. Pear. Parrot. Bird. I was thinking etch. I might, it's not going to work. You might mark something into it like engraving. Same with peach. Pale. Someone might lose some blood flow from the skin and look somewhat pale if they're sick. See if shin is in from a part of the body. React. When someone sees something dangerous, they should react and address the issue. Score. I watched the latest game of the team, and they got one of the highest scores of the season. Lost. Not know where you are. You've already got ship. I was thinking close or closet. Treat. And heat as well. Heat up some food and have dinner while might have a campfire or use on a stove. Almost there. Stretch. Definitely got state. Here. I might ask someone to speak up because I can't hear what they're saying. And taper. And we're done. Go through the ones that I've missed and then look to wrap up. An ampere is a unit of measure for electricity. If electricity, you measure the total amount of energy that's being produced by the voltage and amps or ampere. Batteries as well are measured in volts and amp hours or watt hours. Apparel, to do with clothing. There might be a line of apparel that's unique to a certain company. Arson is a crime where someone deliberately sets fire to a building. Caper might be a criminal enterprise. Care is an important one. I might hear one of my friends is sick and drop around a package to show that I care and help them get through. Carpet on the ground to help insulate the building. Carrot. Cart is useful to carry items around. A clamp is a tool that like getting something to hold a grip onto. It'll push from both sides. Clasp. Class. So for school, it might be separated into certain different classes. Okay, so these are both said the same way, but they mean different things. Actually, they're said different ways. So that's core. So it's more, those two are said the same way. So the might be the core of the Earth is very hot because it's under intense pressure. And a core of the army might focus on different things. So there might be one for infantry, and there might be one focusing on artillery, and there might be one for engineer corps. A corpse is a dead body. Correct is the answer that we were looking for. Someone might feel unwell if they've got a cramp or cramps. Cream is a milk product, although it can also be used in health and beauty, so someone might apply a cream to their face. Elope, a couple might, instead of having a grand lavish wedding where they go and invite all of the family and friends, they might go off and get married quietly and then just announce it to everybody. Heart, a part of the body. A hero is someone that puts themselves in danger, so and usually achieves a good outcome. So a hero firefighter might have run into the burning building to rescue a child. Hippo is short for hippopotamus. Improper is not the done thing. It might be improper, seen as improper in a formal environment to not bring a top hat and suit. Lamp is another name for a torch. Operate, so I might need a qualification to operate a chainsaw and pass an exam to make sure I can use it safely according to work. I could still turn it on and do it, but they might say, well, you need a license to operate it. Parole. A prisoner might get parole and they might be able to leave jail early. Poster might be put up on a wall advertising something, or it might show someone's favorite band. And salesperson so responsible. I might go to the shop and the salesperson might help me make sure I buy the right size shoe that I may not know what size I am, and they can help me get fitted with and so that I don't have to come back and buy a second pair later. Spectator in sport, so the stadium might be full of spectators watching people play soccer or rugby. Store, go down to the store and buy some food. And trespass is a criminal offence where someone is on a property and they shouldn't be. So hopefully it's been useful. If you'd like to see more of these, please leave a comment, let me know. I'm about to wrap up, and thank you for watching. Have a good night.